with you this morning.
We had to overcome the rain that scared some of us, but we are here and we are celebrating the accomplishments of this very first group of graduates. I would like to first have a round of applause for them. I have to say, when I saw them coming up the stairs, I got pretty moved, because we have been working together since November 2020. So we started this academy, Leadership Academy, in the middle of a pandemic, because nothing stops Starfish International. And it started with a conversation with Auntie Yasin about how I could serve better Starfish. And the reason is because in April 2020, I had defended my doctoral dissertation. 15 of the mentors attended via Zoom my dissertation. And the reason I became a doctor, not a medical doctor, a PhD doctor, was to serve at Starfish. They gave me purpose. They walked with me during losses in my family, during illness. And as you may notice from my accent, even though I speak English, my original language is Spanish, because I'm from Argentina. So they supported me and they were with me all along. And when it came to serve, I chose the people. I believe in Starfish, and I said, this is my life commitment, and it started with service. So the first thing that Auntie Yasin said was, let's develop a leadership training towards a leadership academy. And when we had to decide on the curriculum, we said we want servant leaders. And there are many models out there of leadership, but we wanted our graduates to have the perspective of service. That's what we believe not only the Gambia, but the world needs today. So from that clarity of vision, we set up a curriculum that would be first helping the students to develop their character. And we put an emphasis on humility and service. Then from there, we wanted them to know themselves. So we did some assessment, self-assessment tools, so they could understand themselves. But then we put them into groups with a charge of a project, because they needed to exercise the content about team development, communication skills, managing projects. They needed to do it within their teams. They needed to challenge themselves. Many months went by. We wanted this to be a very, very thorough training. We started in November, and here today we are happy to welcome the first graduates of our Leadership Academy.
Thank you, Starfish, for giving this opportunity for not just only my son, but to many others of our sons and daughters. Leadership is a very critical item in the development of our society or national development. We need leaders who can and are willing to serve and take the responsibility of their communities and country and the world at large. We need everyone, especially the young ones, to be leaders who will take the responsibility not only to be leaders of today, but to take it up with them up in the future and be leaders who will lead the whole community and the world in what we need. I say a very big thank you again to Starfish International.
There are many leadership trainings, but we wanted a leadership training where the leaders actually have an action plan. So you're leading, but you're leading by example. And whatever you're leading is actually helping the community right away. So a few years ago, one of our instructors, her mom was passing away. She lived in the US and her mom was in Argentina. And she had a choice to either go and visit her mom while her mom was in the last stages of her life, or to come to Starfish and serve. And she wrote to her mom and said, I really want to go to the Gambia and serve. Even though I could spend this time with you, please give me your blessing to go to Starfish and serve instead of come to Argentina and see you. So that in itself is beautiful. You know, I love stories like that. But on top of that, because her mom was passing away, she was having a really, really hard time, like all of us would. And so she was doing a PhD program, and she got very discouraged. And she said, I don't really feel like getting this doctorate, becoming a doctor anymore. And I said to her, even though you don't feel like doing it for yourself, a lot of the time when we go to set examples for these girls, they need to see examples of somebody who has gone far enough and gotten their PhD. And so the Starfish family needs a doctor. So even if you don't want to be a doctor for yourself and you're discouraged right now and you've lost your zeal, find the motivation in Starfish, because Starfish needs a doctor. And you guessed it, she went back to school and she finished her PhD at the age of 60. And so this is a surprise award. Designed by Artie and Maria. And when she was designing it, she didn't know that she was going to get one. And in the front, it says Service Award. In the back, it says Our Doctor. So there's another surprise. There's a particular Gambian outfit that Maria absolutely loves. And my mom and I had a matching one. And every time I put it on, she would say, I really love that outfit. And so this time when she came, my mom decided to make a matching outfit for her as well. So Mama has the outfit for you. Mama, please come. And you can take it out of her. You want to take this?
Love.
Maria had a shawl that she bought, and she really loved the shawl. And my mom saw the shawl and loved the shawl. So Maria took the shawl and gave it to my mom. But every time we've been here, even when we went to the fair, she kept saying, I need to buy a shawl in order to replace my shawl. And yesterday when I saw my mom said, I know Maria gave me her shawl, but she really loved it. So I bought a shawl to replace her shawl. Because I know that Maria doesn't have enough time to go buy a shawl herself. So she bought a shawl to match your outfit. Again, this is what I live for. It's this idea that every single time we have seen Maria's leadership, it is her stepping out of herself to think about others and to do for others. And for me, that's really the representation of leadership. And I couldn't have imagined teaching this class with anybody other than those that I've shared the instructorship with. So thank you for showing servant leadership and selflessness. And you are our doctor.
Good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon to ladies and gentlemen. My fellow graduates, I'm saying big congratulations to you all. Good afternoon to instructors, Auntie Maria, Auntie Yasin, and Auntie Fatuai. I'm saying good afternoon to you all. Words cannot really tell how much joyful I am to be part of this important training. It is indeed a pleasure to be here with you today to celebrate this journey, completing the leadership training successfully. The leadership training is so important in our life, especially with the youth. As you may already know, today I am here on behalf of Fandema, which is Mbolo Association. Fandema is a charitable organization established in the Gambia since 2010. Its aim is to accompany, strengthen, and empower women in the Gambia, regardless of race, region, or gender. Fandema, which is a flagship project of local community development projects for women aged 18 to 35 years old, with the aim to empower and upgrade the life standard of women and youths by strengthening their productive capacities. The collaboration between Fandema and Starfish would help learners or students to benefit by improving their academic, cultural, leadership, and teaching potentials. It also creates opportunities for both schools to contribute to the development of youth and women in the Gambia. On the other hand, Starfish leadership training has taught me a lot. It helped me to know my strengths, my weakness, and also to know what skills do I want in future. Therefore, the training is so important because it promotes and adjusts my personal and professional development that feeds a culture of innovation in me. It helped me to decrease stress and anxiety through emotional management skills. On that note, I would like to say a big thank you to both the instructors, especially to Auntie Yasin and Maria and Fatuai. And also, we all know we are the future leaders of tomorrow. So we should all join our hands to help the young leaders, the youths, to become as what we want, because they are the future leaders of tomorrow. I would like to say a big thank you to instructors once again for this conducive platform, and hope this partnership will bring more learning opportunities in the Gambia. So I say thank you all. Merci and gracias.
that I have built the most is communication skills, and also like having the skill of teamwork, because this is not just me. There are times that our schedules might not work accordingly, but you have to communicate to your partner so that you can do your work. And I will say those two are one of the things I will say has really impacted my life the most. And in the Mandinka group, we were given 5 modules. So in those 5 modules, we were to teach people basic Mandinka. And our target group was volunteers and people whom you know they cannot speak Mandinka. So this can be even Gambians like the Wallabs and Manjabos who will want to speak Mandinka. So our target group is not just volunteers who are from other countries or foreigners, but it also involves people who cannot speak the language. So we divided the modules into 5 videos, and then our first video was based on greetings. So we feel like this is very important because in every culture, like greeting is one of the keys, because you cannot just come and talk to somebody without greeting them. And in the Mandinka culture, like every single person, you have to greet, like you always have to greet your elders whenever you see them. And this will bring respect between you and those people. And also this will help you to fit in the society. So when we were doing the greetings, we are like, if it's the volunteers, if you come to the Gambia, so if you are able to say Assalamu alaikum in Mandinka, if hello means Assalamu alaikum, and hi means wa alaikum salam. So if you are able to say to people Assalamu alaikum, that will actually help you to fit inside the society. Because sometimes if your volunteers go outside, people will want to talk to them, but they will think that they cannot speak the language. But at least if you know the basic words in Mandinka, like if they tell you Abenyadi, which means how are you, you can say Mbejandoro, which is I am fine. So when we were doing the greetings, we are like, we will try by all means and put our words into the basic grammar as possible, so that this will not be difficult for people to learn. And also we categorized, the other part was the restaurant. So we feel like if volunteers come, one of their places they usually go to is around the beach and to the restaurant. And if you go to the restaurant, if you are able to tell the waiter what you want in the basic Mandinka, like in the local language, this will actually help you to communicate with those people. And they will be open to actually give you everything that you need. So we also included that, and we actually list some of the food like in Mandinka called domada, how to say domada. If you go to the restaurant, if you read, the first thing you should say, it's like greet those people. You can be like Assalamu alaikum, lafta domadala. And they will be like wa alaikum salam, ilafta domadala animu. So those were one of the things we put into consideration. And also at the market. So most of the time if the volunteers come here, we usually have day in a life. And you go to a student's house and then you will go with the student to the market. And then we feel like if you go to the market and you are able to communicate to the vendors what you need in the local language, this will really help you to actually tell them what you need, and it will actually make those people to feel comfortable around, and you will be able to fit inside the society. So these are actually basic, like the categories we put our stuff. Like the restaurant, if you meet a new person, what do you say to them? And if you go to the market, what do you say to the vendors? And all of that. So these are one of the things like we did in our action learning project. So we are the Mandinka group, and thank you very much.
And our target group are our volunteers, that is the Starfish volunteers who come here every summer, and also people who come to the Gambia and would love to learn the Wolof group. And so basically, the places we choose, why we choose this. So we chose like 5 different categories that we want to teach the people. And the first thing we did is to come up with a greeting module, because greeting in our culture is something that is very significant. And so in order to build a connection with someone, the first thing you have to do is to be able to greet them and be able to communicate with them with courtesy. And so the other thing, for example, when they come, you say, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam, nanga def jama rek, those basic things. And also when you meet a new person, for example, when you go to a new country, it's important to be able to, like when you meet a new person, to be able to communicate with them. And so for example, if you meet me or if I go to a new country and I meet someone, I'm like, nanga def, and the person responds jama rek, I should be able to say, nakanga tuda, and all of that. So our volunteers, when they come to the Gambia and we walk them down the streets, you see little kids telling them tubab, tubab. And so they would want to know what the meaning of tubab is. And we tell them tubab means like white person. And they're like, we're not okay with them calling us white persons, white people. How do we tell them that like we are not tubabs? And so I can remember teaching one volunteer to say, your response is nekuma tubab, Genesis latuda, or nekuma tubab, dija latuda, and all of that. So basically, I think they would really appreciate it. Another thing is the restaurant. So for example, like my co-presenter already stated, when you go to the restaurant, you should be able to say what you want to the waitress, like hello, salaam alaikum, mani to the dija, and lifin labuga, kom doh labuga nan or something. Another thing is the hospital, and like just not the hospital, but when you go to meet a medical person, we do peer health outreaches with these volunteers. And so when they come and they meet our fellow doctors, we want them to be able to communicate with the doctors in the local languages and all of that. For example, when they say, hello doctor, man dija latuda, suma bopa bay meti, and all of that, to be able to say that. And yeah, the impact, I would say this training has a lot of impact in my life because I was able to work with my team. And so just coming up with these modules and being excited to teach the volunteers or any other new person when they come is a very fulfilling experience for me. And I can't wait to apply this knowledge with people, especially when we have volunteers this summer or next summer. So I also want to take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone who has sacrificed their time to come here and make it up to support us. It really means a lot to us. Thank you.
My name is Mariama Krubali, and I was one of the members of the childhood development in our action learning project. So childhood development basically was about the 5 stages of development that a child goes through when they grow up. And we related that in terms of the games that they play and how the games impact their lives. So in these 5 stages of development, we have social and emotional development, we have the physical development, we have the cognitive development, we have the gross motor skill development, and finally we have the language and speech development. So when you look at the games that we play as kids, usually sometimes parents tend to be very strict and what games their kids play or whether they should have the opportunity to go out and play as much as they can. And then when I say games, I'm looking at traditional games that we play here as Gambians. And that most people don't know that in the stages of a child's development, the games that they play are most of the things that really impact their growth as they grow from infants to teenagers. Okay, so some of these games include skip, patinyebe. These are the traditional names of these games. We have pre-bang, and then we have 25 gigabucks, we have American touch, and so on. So I would like to have at least 2 volunteers to please come forward and tell me at least one of these games that I've mentioned here and 2 things that you have learned from these games. 2 people, please. Any volunteers? Ajindate, I'm very sure you played a lot as a kid. Ajindate, you can come forward. Anyone else? Or should I choose? Fakure, thank you very much. Okay, Aji, so tell me one game that you played as a kid. You can choose any one of these games that I just mentioned here. And then tell me 2 things that you learned from this game.
Okay, 25 gigabucks. So it really helped me in counting. Especially I am really bad at math, but doing that because I had to run around with friends and laugh, it helped me with my counting and all of that. And then it also helped me to learn how to do teamwork, because you have to work in teams to make sure you win instead of the other group. So it helped me in my calculations and in learning how to do teamwork.
Thank you very much, Aji. Fature.
Okay, so a game that I remember doing like so much is Potinyele. So it also helped me in my counting. But sometimes like you have to think critically before you start your game. Like when you have the add that part, so you have to close your eyes and do the game without stepping on the lanes. So it helped me in critical thinking and building self-confidence. To start the game, you have to have confidence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my volunteers, for coming forward and participating. So if you look at some of the things that they mentioned based on the impact that they had from these traditional games that we played as Gambians, you will hear that they mentioned physical development there, emotional and social development, being able to work as a team, being able to connect with your friends, being able to be mentally and physically healthy as a kid. So that's why our target group were the parents and the teachers. So we want the parents and the teachers to be able to understand that the kids should be allowed to be able to play these games. I'm not saying they should leave their work to go and play these games, but like I want you to understand that these games are things that they learn a lot from. And also, if you look at cognitive development, an example of this is when a 2-year-old goes out to go and explore his or her environment. So kids are very curious. They want to learn about a lot. They want to know things going around them and all of that. So being able to develop in that stage as a 2-year-old and being able to know something and learn a lot and also like think very broad, and that is something that is very important for kids in their terms of development. So let's not forget the stages of development that I've mentioned here and how the games that we play as kids impact and help us to learn in these various stages of development. So I would say the impact of the class was immense. It was beautiful being able to work with my team and being able to learn a lot of this. I didn't know all the stages of childhood development until I took this class and I was able to learn all of this. And so it kind of made me embrace and be proud of the games that I played as a kid. And I remember one of my most favorite games where I was playing kitchen, how you pretend to be like making food and selling it and your friends will come and buy from you. And I think that kind of made me be someone that was very lively, and I like being around my mom in the kitchen and helping her out and all of that. So I hope you have learned something from what I have spoken from here, and that we'll be able to embrace and love our traditional games, especially as Gambians. Thank you very much.
So in this civic education team, our main aim is to educate the citizens about their rights and responsibilities in a state, and also to know their limitations in a state, so that we will be able to, let's say, terminate other person's rights because we are in power. And we also want to teach the people about, let's say, if we say the government, who are in the government, and let's say, how do those people represent us in the government? So, yeah. So our target group was the young criminal and women, and also, so we did our modules in Mandinka, so we did 5 of them. So one of them was the importance of civic education. So the importance of civic education are so many in our countries, are so many, and I also feel like every individual sitting here should know their rights and responsibilities as well. So some of the responsibilities that I'm going to list, one is like right to education. So we all have the right to be in school. You all have the right to go to school and to also learn. So it's either go to school or be in a skill center or do something that you are passionate about. But that is our right as citizens. And we also have the right to fair trial. Let's say if you are accused or you are found guilty of doing something and you are unable to, let's say, pay the lawyer, the government should be able to provide one for you because you are a citizen and that is your right to be defended in court. And also your responsibilities. You should be able to defend your state, let's say in terms of war, especially if you are trained and you have the materials, the equipment to be, let's say, to represent your country in a war. And also, if you hear somebody talking about your country, you should be able to stand and correct that. But you should do that without hurting the next person. Just because the person says mean things to your country, you should not say the same thing to the person, but instead defend the person and also make sure the person knows this is what is going on and this is the right way to say it as well. So we also talked about registration, which is going on. given the fact that given the fact that the election is coming, people really need to get their voters card in order to choose their leader, in order to choose someone they believe can take the country up and to see what they want to see in the country. So we say that, let's say, in either to have your voter's card, you need your birth certificate or your ID card. So you have to go, let's say, now that people are going around in our community, so you either take your birth certificate or your ID card to go get your voter's card. And wherever you register, that is the right place for you to vote. I think that's also important for people to know. So we make sure we also emphasize that on our videos. And the next one is voting. Given the fact that election is coming, and as I mentioned in my first module, that the importance of our right as citizens is to vote. So voting is very important. And also, if you are voting for your leader, you don't have to vote for somebody, let's say, for somebody that people are saying you have to vote for the person. But in order to vote, you have to listen to their manifestation. So through their manifestation, they are going to talk about, let's say, how they are going to move the country forward and what they can do for the youth. So if you feel like this person can represent me in my state, then you can vote for the person. But please let not go for the majority. And also, we also talk about the 3 organs of government and how they represent us in our parliament. Those are the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. So we choose all these people to represent us in our government. And also the last one, we talk about, let's say, the chain that we have from the alcalde to the president.